One area of your home that many people don't consider increases toxins is the air that you're exposed to. The EPA has found that indoor air is 2 to 100 times more toxic than outdoor air. And the average American spends about 90% of their life indoors. So we seriously have to consider the air that we're breathing in. Some common areas where we can get toxins filling our air, infiltrating our home, are obvious, like smoke, things like cigarette smoke. If you have individuals in your home who smoke, then that's going to cause a lot of toxic buildup in the air that you're breathing in. But also, fragrances, artificial fragrances in the products that we're using are cleaning products as well. Mold in our homes, and also dust. When you have dust that accumulates in your home, then toxins will sort of stick to that and build up in areas, and that can cause issues with the air that you're breathing in, which then would in turn cause respiratory problems, allergy issues, and also immune system diseases.
Yes. And the indoor air of your own home is one area that you can focus on minimizing those toxins. So you have control over that environment. So we can lower our toxic load by doing very simple things in our home. And those things include houseplants. You have to, houseplants are actually one of the best air filtration systems that you can have. So rather than purchasing a really expensive air filtration system, put some plants in the spaces where you live, in your living room, in your bedrooms, in your home office. Make sure you have a few houseplants that are easy to care for.
And there are a couple of specific species of plants that are really great at detoxifying the air. Spider plants are one of them, jade plants are another, but you can really easily do a search on the internet for plants that help to clean the air.
And you'll even see the moss wall in our clinic. Yes. And the moss is known for being an amazing detoxification system within a space. So another way to detox the air in your home is opening the windows whenever you can. Open your windows anytime you bring something new into your home so that it can have time to off gas, which we will talk about. Open the windows if there's a smell in your home. Open the windows if the weather is nice enough, just simply so that you can have that circulation of the fresher, less toxic air coming in and the toxins leaving your house, just like you detox as a person, to kind of let your walls breathe a bit. So let's talk about off-gassing. If you're doing a construction project, knowing what materials are being brought in and minimizing the toxins even with those materials, whether it's the glues or the insulations, you can look up and see what are the top offenders and how can we make better choices. Sometimes you will be stuck with bringing something that has a material that's toxic, and in that situation, you want to respect that off-gassing period and keep your windows wide open for a few days to allow that to leave the product and leave the air in your home. Sometimes people will even have a new couch delivered and keep it in the garage for a few days so that the off-gassing can happen without affecting the living space directly. So a new mattress, that can off-gas. New paint on the walls. There are several different things. It's just all about being conscious and aware of the smells in your home. Another thing that you can do is to go to EWG. We've talked about this website a few times throughout this class modules that will tell you the different levels of air filtration that you can secure for your type of living.
These are simple practices that you can do, and probably the simplest of them all is simply to get outside. Shoot for spending time outside in the sunshine, in the fresh air, because that's going to make a big difference for your health.
Yes, and another thing about the air, I do want to touch on this before we move on from air quality, is something that's a silent toxin in the air, which is EMFs. And many of you have probably heard that term by now with the electromagnetic field and the radiation coming into your space, because 5G has become an issue. So 5G with the telecommunications industry is touted as the biggest gift to humanity since sliced bread. However, we also know that these types of technologies bring with them higher levels of radiation and EMF exposure. So what does that mean? Once again, we are built to adapt. We can adapt to radiation exposure, and our body will heal and adapt But when it comes to excessive exposure, we want to be sure to minimize that. And within the four walls of your home, you want to do a few steps just to make sure that you're not getting excessive known exposure. One of the things is, do you have a smart meter on your home? Most likely the answer is yes. And where is it located? It can be hard to get the smart meters removed. However, most of the time you can call your utility company to get the smart meter removed off of your house. It's the meter that will report to your utility company without your utility company coming out to read the meter, right? So they want to charge you a little extra on your utilities if someone's going to have to come out to read the meter. So one option is to get the meter removed. Another option is to make sure that the placement of the meter is not outside of a bedroom wall or outside of the wall where you spend 8 hours a day, if that's your desk or where your children play all day. So just knowing the placement of that smart meter is one thing that you can do to take care of your family. Another thing that you can do is use Ethernet cords. If you have Ethernet cord, if you have the little jacks in your home that you can plug in a hardwired internet cord, do that. If not, look into perhaps getting that wired if you have Wi-Fi needs in your home, so that your most stable locations, such as your desk area or maybe your living room, that you have access to hardwiring your internet instead of having the Wi-Fi on all the time. Speaking of when you have your Wi-Fi on, you can get preparations to turn your Wi-Fi off while you sleep. Because sleeping is one of the most important environments. That is when your body stabilizes. It's 8 hours of deeper healing. And if we can protect your sleep environment, then we can go far with your body's ability to adapt at a high level to all of the toxic exposure. Before we dive into sleep a tiny bit more, I just want to let you know that you could spend a lifetime studying EMF exposure and trying to combat it. However, I recommend that you take some precautions and be aware of it, and you don't have to become obsessive, because becoming obsessive can distract you from being joyful and happy and trusting your body's ability to adapt. We will drop a link on this video for you to follow and listen to an interview with Libby Darnell on EMF exposure in your home if you want to take a little bit of a deeper look on that.
But the simple practices that Leah just outlined, simply turning off your Wi-Fi at night, you don't need it while you're sleeping anyway, keeping your devices such as laptops and cell phones out of the bedroom when you're sleeping, and then when possible, maybe turning things on airplane mode so that you're not using the Wi-Fi throughout your day or devices that you're wearing. These are really, really simple things that you can do to help minimize that exposure.
Yes, and just being aware that every time you bring a new Wi-Fi device or add something Bluetooth to your home, that you are increasing that EMF load within the airspace of your home. So say no to additional Wi-Fi utility, appliances. So if your appliance is like, oh, I can get the Wi-Fi refrigerator or the non-Wi-Fi refrigerator, I would say forego the Wi-Fi on the refrigerator, because it does affect your health. So anytime you have the option of Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi, excessive electronic or not, then just minimizing your time with electronics, period, when it's not necessary, is a way to help with the radiation exposure.